Welcome to State of Health Podcast. This is your host, J-Mart. On this podcast, I will share my knowledge and experience as a personal trainer and health coach, and talk about my interests and experiments in physical training, nutrition, and other lifestyle factors involved in health. On this episode of the podcast, I am joined by my Brazilian Jiu Jitsu professor, Gabriel Serra, to talk about his experiences in training martial arts most of his life, starting with Judo at the age of 9. Professor Gabriel holds a black belt in both Judo and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. We talked about the similarities and differences of the two martial arts and how cross-training between them improved his game. I also learned a little bit about the history of how these martial arts were developed. Professor Gabriel also shared how martial arts opened opportunities in his life that he would not have had otherwise, such as moving to different parts of the world like the United Arab Emirates and now Canada. I also asked Professor Gabriel how Brazilian Jiu Jitsu can be used to improve health and fitness. We talked about the various aspects of health such as physical activity, nutrition, sleep, environment, and social connections, and their relationship with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So if all that sounds interesting, then this podcast episode is for you. Just before we get started, this is a reminder that you can get started with my free bodyweight training program, Body Basics, which requires no equipment, by going to subscribepage.com/bodybasics. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, hit subscribe if you like the content, and hit the notification bell too. If you're listening through a podcast app, could you please share the podcast with a friend who may also enjoy listening and discussing it with you? All right, here's the episode. Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me on another episode of State of Health. Today I have a very special guest, my coach Gabriel from Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, from the gym that I go to. Welcome to the show, Gabriel. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, John. Hey, everybody.
I wanted to have you on to talk about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and its role in health and fitness. Mm-hmm. That's what this show is really about. It's about health and fitness and all the different aspects that are involved. It's a large topic, obviously. It incorporates a lot of different subjects, and I think one of them is, physical preparedness, and that can be achieved through martial arts. And one of those martial arts is Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and you're an expert, so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Let me just ask you a little bit about your background. Like, how old were you when you first got involved in martial arts?
Oh, man. Martial arts, when I was 9. I was around 97. Was Judo, my first sport, actually, by accident. And I started Jiu Jitsu to help me in my Judo was 2002. I was 14.
Okay, so you did 5 years of just Judo. And Judo is a little bit different from Jiu Jitsu. The way you kind of described it to me is Judo's the standing part, and then when somebody gets a takedown and gets somebody down to the mat, that's when Jiu Jitsu starts, if you were to describe it that way.
If you think about it, Jiu Jitsu and Judo, there is like a lot of things similar. It's pretty much the same thing if you remove the rules and just looking forward for the technique. But imagine the lazy side from a side is completely opposite side, and vice versa. Like Judo, they training a lot stand-ups and they're looking too much forward to go into the ground because the rules don't help much. So right now they have more time to work in the ground. But for example, when I was training, it was like a few seconds and then reset stand-up. But we able to submit the guys in the ground after you complete 15. And Jiu-Jitsu, you start stand-up, but you can just grab the gi and sit down and do your guard game. Like you don't need to do a throw to be a world champion. In a sense, but it's kind of weird. Even you have the technique there, you want to develop yourself. Some people really just avoid it. I'm talking about Jiu-Jitsu players, Jiu-Jiteiro. We say in Brazil, looking to train Judo. Like right now, I think they open more the mind because the level, of course, going higher and higher. And when you have your game all feel it, you have more possibilities to one or moving forward for you in your brackets if you're looking for the aspect of competition.
Mm-hmm. So they're kind of so similar that if you're looking to get better at Jiu-Jitsu, you can train a little bit of Judo to at least enrich that part of your game.
My game, trust me, is the way I get better a lot, of course, because I'm training Jiu-Jitsu, but my mentality I get it from Judo, the basic I get it from Judo is like pretty much my base game when I'm training. And one comes from another.
From Ronaldo?
One comes from another.
Oh, sorry, one comes from the other.
One comes from another. Sorry, English, bad English.
It's all good. It's all good.
But like Judo was created in 1982, but based off martial arts called Jiu Jitsu without I. Like 1,000 years ago, I think they trained the samurais training for go to the war, but they missing a lot of times between that because it was I don't know if I'm telling something wrong, but the AG era, like when the samurai was gone. So they don't need to train anymore. Don't have more samurais. Don't have nothing. So why am I training? So they turn thugs. So go to the streets, start to get them paid for do same things, and they use the technique they have from before. But the guy make the big change of that, in my opinion, the main guy for Judo, even for Jiu-Jitsu, be the way they are right now, is a Japanese guy called Jigoro Kano, was the creator of Judo.
Kano,
Jigoro Kano. He was a really big guy in Japan at the time. He got even to be a minister of education for quite a time. So he removed a lot of stuff from Jiu-Jitsu, like things can hurt people.
Okay.
And create Judo, throws, submissions. And they use this based off the way to show the other side of the world. What is Japan? Japan was Judo was the representation of Japan, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is for us.
Right.
And then they send a lot of students around the world. One of those guys hit in North America, I guess, but they get in Brazil too. Was Matsu Maeda. And they start to the link with the Grace family. And I can be like 3 hours talk about that.
No problem.
Getting Eddie Grace is the consider of the creation of Jiu-Jitsu. So based
Him
off his mentality, actually they say like Carlos Grace was training more Judo, but imagine you know what he does today in guard. Eddie Grace created that.
Right.
You know what I mean? The way to use your bad Judo create the will. Eddie Grace created the jerk, you know, the way you lift the car.
The
leverage.
You know
what I mean? They find the leverage there, but they have this from before. But Judo don't care about ground.
Right.
So Jiu-Jitsu see that option, they start development and get the level we have right now. And Judo was more stand-up, so you can see the difference between that, but it's like two trees with the same roots, I can tell.
I get it. And so what drew you to Jiu-Jitsu? Did you already have a black belt in Judo by the time you transitioned?
No. I was green belt and I hate Jiu-Jitsu actually because there is a lot of animosity in that time between both sports. I'm from Rio, so imagine 90s when the Jiu-Jitsu started coming up in Brazil. The Grace family was fighting against everybody down there, and at the same time it was nice for the news. Imagine I was like 12, 11, have a dinner like 8 p.m. with my family, and the news coming, Jiu-Jitsu fighter murdered somebody at a club.
Really?
I swear.
Wow.
And man, that's a sport I'm trying to train. You're crazy. But
I bet she loved hearing that.
even that for the judokas, because it was the rivalry against both for many years. They say, we're gonna train Jiu-Jitsu, you have Judo. So they kind of put this in your mind. So I remember my professors back at the time don't say bad things, but they don't agree to go.
They didn't encourage you doing Jiu-Jitsu.
But like I said, there is an age. I started, was 9. So when you move to 15, you allowed to do submissions, a choke, and there was compete. So I get a trouble on the ground. And man, I need to train that. And at that time, I had a friend. He just started to train Judo, but his father was a professor of Jiu-Jitsu, Eduardo. And he invited me, let's go training. And I show up in the first time in my class, my life, I was a green belt, my green belt of Judo. But imagine green belt in Jiu-Jitsu is like the black belt of the kids, because they have been training for a long time. I remember a guy down there, it's my friend until now, Genuine. First row of my life, Jiu-Jitsu, footlong.
Oh God!
First in 14.
That's a hard lesson.
My first class in my life. Like I come home like, with my knees bad.
That was probably hurting for a week.
No. But you know what hurt more when I felt first time my biceps.
Oh God!
Oh man, that's
from an armbar.
No, a biceps choke. They kind of trap your arm and they're hitting your muscle. But I was a white belt. I mean, Brazil was rough before. But yeah, I was using Jiu-Jitsu to to feel my problem in judo, but I keep training, like not much as a training judo because it was my main thing at the time. I get like scholarship based off judo, but I get my graduation both. You know what I mean? So I get my black belt in judo was 22, 2010.
Wow. From 9 to 22.
Yeah, and then I get my black belt in jiu-jitsu.
13 years.
In 2014.
And that was from when you were 15 years old to 2004, you said?
2014.
14, sorry. 14. So 10
2002 to 2014.
Okay, so another 12 years there.
And then I moved to Abu Dhabi.
So yeah, that was the question I was going to ask is what kind of opportunities did learning martial arts open up for you?
A lot, actually. Like, nobody in my family is involved with martial arts in general, but my both parents who is involved with athletes in different sports. My mother was a runner. She was trained with a kind of high performer athletes for quite a time. And my father was, he's really popular in my neighborhood when I was growing up, handball.
Yeah.
So there is a small
popular
club
in Europe too, but not in North America.
They train it's so violent. Jesus, if you think jiu-jitsu is violent, that's violent as hell. I remember because I played here in the school. We studied in the same school, my father and me.
Okay, cool.
And there's a kind of popular that the sport they pass, and it's still down there even now.
Yeah.
I remember compete for the tournaments to the schools. Man, I come like hurt legs, purple eyes because they punch me in his hand. The people tell about jiu-jitsu is violent. Jiu-jitsu is like the gentle art.
Yeah, if you practice correctly.
Yeah, sure. You know that. But yeah, I remember my first opportunity, like martial arts open for me, was a scholarship from a really expensive school in Rio at that time. And they was paying nothing.
Wow.
Just to fight for that.
Mm-hmm. And what did they have? So it's in addition to learning judo, did you also have like classes that you're learning at the same time, like additional education, or just
No, I did my high school, my I don't know how you guys call here, but
university, college.
I moved to university. I get a scholarship from university as well because judo. Mm-hmm. And like started that way, but I never imagined it'd be that. I never that, for example, Abu Dhabi right now, because there is so much people down there and a lot of money, and the people, this is my dream be there if I'm a jiu-jitsu player because I can live a jiu-jitsu lifestyle. I never dreamed that. Mm-hmm. I never know where is Abu Dhabi before I do my interview, my life before.
Yeah.
Like
so for people who don't know, Abu Dhabi is like a mecca almost of like jiu-jitsu, where they have the Abu Dhabi championships, and basically the best players arrive, and the winner of that is almost considered like a world champion. Am I right?
Yeah, they have a federation down there. They do awards, but the difference down there, because they have the awards in California, is like the biggest one in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
If you think about like level of athletes, but they think down there, for example, for me to live, imagine if my life my fight was a kind of period of study. So I did judo. Mm-hmm. I'm my middle school. Mm-hmm. And then I moved middle school before
high school.
What you had before?
Before middle school?
Yeah, basic school was my judo.
Elementary school. Yeah,
then I moved my middle school judo jiu-jitsu together, and I did my masters of jiu-jitsu in Abu Dhabi for 4 years. Like, wow. Just to understand, when I did my interview, there's guys down there already, but with the group I was 200 guys in one shot from Brazil to UAE.
Oh wow!
And in the capital, Abu Dhabi, from UAE was living. Like in the city, probably just down there, they have more than 150 black belt coach. In my building, they have more than 20 black belts. Imagine the training. Every single day, 30 black belts on the mat, like smash you every single day.
Yeah, I get smashed by blue and purple belts every single time I go training. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in Abu Dhabi with 20 plus black belts.
I never.
It's an intense learning period, I'm sure, but some physical toll that you had to pay, I'm sure, going through that.
It was roughy and good at the same time. Like, it's hard down there, like, especially for Brazilian, because it's total opposite culture of us. Like, we come from South America, tropical country, we have the Amazon trees, fresh air, and open. It's free.
Yeah.
And then we go to Middle East, different culture, different religion, they like first time I saw a woman with burqa in my life. Oh my gosh, I never saw this before. I was 26.
Culture shock.
A lot. I was like bikinis, and then after burqas. Oh man, what's that? So,
quite the contrast. It's hard to. I can't imagine. Wow.
But yeah, and then actually I got the interview just because I was there for do a judo presentation. I was not there for actually the interview for jiu-jitsu.
Amazing. So you did 4 years. How old were you when you moved to Abu Dhabi?
25, 2015.
Okay, so you were there for 4 or 5 years?
4 years.
4 years.
2019. I changed desert for snow.
Yeah. Brazil to desert to Canada to the snow. So another form of culture shock.
No, huge. That, like when I moved to Canada, I feel like the movies I was watching after knowing my home was a teenager. Like everything, they come from North America for us, you know?
Yeah.
And like snow. First time I saw snow, I was 29. I take and eat it. Yeah, that's the third winter in my life. I hate already to clean my driveway. My lower back hates a lot.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good transition to like jiu-jitsu and health and fitness.
Oh man, don't tell me that. Driveway is not healthy.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I personally feel like well, if we break down health into multiple components, physical activity is one of the major components of staying healthy and being having a long lifespan or health span. And obviously, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, your physical activity levels are up; they're through the roof. There's a lot that you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily translate to you, being like lack of injuries or. I think you still get strong and you can still get flexible in certain ways, but you can also do a lot of damage to your body. So like, let's talk a little bit about your physical training. Like, did you do a lot of weightlifting when you were young?
My first contact like with straight physical training for sport, because like you can go to the gym just work out, but it's not the same thing if you do direct for what you need.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
I was 15 with a guy called Pimentel. He now lives in Orlando, I guess. And he's the first time I was introduced to lift weights.
Yeah. Okay. All the way from, well, I guess, okay, when you're 9, you're pretty young, so you don't necessarily need to lift weights.
But we don't use weights, actually. I remember was like for a while, we just like tubs, just to understand the mechanic. And I was like, hated. Oh my gosh, why that? And then the future, of course, when they start to put the weights, you can understand more how different makes if you have a good technique for jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter what. But
that's very interesting. So for a long time you were just practicing the actual
that PVC tub.
Yeah. The PVC pipe.
Throw up like core and why man? I have nothing. Hey, do that.
And you did this when you were 15 or even younger when you were like
no. Before I never had a training, but like. When I was 13 to 14, I started to just like really mild lift weights. And then I moved to this guy. He was a physical preparation for judo. He was I was a big club in Brazil at that time called Universidade Gama Filho. And actually that place is the previous big clubs you have in jiu-jitsu in the world right now. There is a club called GF Team, come from that place too. Like, man, it was one of the biggest judo club in Brazil for a while.
Okay, so it spun off a lot of successful judo.
Imagine you want trainee, 12 guys from the national team, 2 guys from the Olympic team, a medal Olympic athlete from the same place from there. Like rough times.
Yeah, cool. So you did a lot of so it sounds like you were like learning clean and jerks and things that are like Olympic weightlifting style lifting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and then what about like just regular kind of bodybuilding style lifting? That was less important at the time. It wasn't emphasized.
For athletes, I don't think that's because you do that. You're looking good. If you're looking for the bodybuilding competition, you have to show your muscles the perfect way, and they can judge you. For us, muscles can be good and bad because you're fighting you have a huge fighting The biggest fighting for all the athletes I can guess is against the scale.
Yeah.
So if I put more muscle, I'm gonna get a heavier. So it's more how you feel how to fight,
So it's a trade-off between muscles and, let's say, having more muscles and being maybe more speedy, more...
Depends your goal. I know people kill themselves to cut weight and it's successful, and I know people move on for another category like over, and they go good as well because they don't need to suffer against cut weight. You can see, I don't know if you guys are looking for UFC, Charles the Bronx. He was fighting for a while, the category under, but he was so skinny, so weak. He moved to the category over. Now he's the world champion.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? Yeah, it's you just gotta find the right body weight to compete at, I guess. And so you did the specific training, and how, like, could you describe a little bit like what your training was like? So you got a lot of like technique in the beginning to make sure you have it right, and then what about the stretching?
Stretching actually come more in my life after, but not from the physical training. Like I have an aunt. It's a really close friend for our family. I treat her as an aunt.
Yeah.
She's a yoga instructor.
Cool.
I was 2011 was University Castelo Branco, and she invited me because she wanna start to do a program with athletes. And then she invited me to go to the class with her. I never had it before. And I get a shock to how I learn about my body. Yeah. In one class.
Amazing.
One class. Like I see people invert, smile, and I look to myself like sweating and shaking. Oh my God, what's going on here?
The legs just like...
Yeah, like the kakasana, the one you put your knees on top of your elbow. Like it's a basic one.
Crow pose, I think we call that in English.
My Indian is bad.
You're still a blue belt in English. Don't worry.
I am a tough blue belt.
But after today, I might give you your purple belt.
That's God, I'm working for that. But I saw like the first class, like, man, this is different. And then I start to train like twice a week. But I gathered all the knowledge for months, and I still doing it to myself. But I remember COVID hit us. I was far from. She's in Brazil. She started to do
online
Zoom, so we getting back.
Oh, great!
And then like once a week, twice a week, I try to be over, even to train myself. And I get some time I can pick up and use in my class, like you said, we was talking earlier about recovering, and the technique the yoga using for breathing, stretching, I feel helps me to recover much better. Yeah, and even to avoid problems in the future, because when you train so much, the problem, in my opinion, is not like how you're training. Of course, this makes different, but if you know how to handle yourself and understand your body, because everybody's different, of course, you can be that for longer and without hurt.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like we have different goals inside to the message. There's people who finish work and go train just for fun because they want to be healthy, or people train it 3 times per day, 7 times per week because they look in this as a future.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying before. What is your goal when you're training? Is it lifestyle? Is it
right now?
No. I'm just in generally speaking. Like when you're doing jiu-jitsu, are you doing it because you want to do it for fun? Is it because you want to compete? Is it just because like you don't have any other activity you're doing and you think you can fill your time with this and get healthy? Like it's very important questions to ask yourself. And then have an answer, because based on the answer, then you can determine what kind of training you should be doing and how hard you should be going, and whether you need to supplement the jiu-jitsu training with yoga training or stretching or all this other stuff, right? Because if you kind of like what I was describing to you before, if I were to just do jiu-jitsu and not take care of my body from like the damage that I'm receiving from training, then it would take me a lot longer to recover, and I might not want to come back to train as frequently as I am. But because I have this knowledge of how to take care of my body when I can like feel aches and pains, especially around the neck, that's when you're doing jiu-jitsu, the neck is going to suffer, so you need to learn how to tend to it, how to make it feel better, how to stretch it, and how to strengthen it. And if you don't do those things, like I said, it's going to be you're not going to want to come back to doing jiu-jitsu as much unless you have that burning passion inside of you that makes you want to train, which, you know, I feel like I'm getting that. But there's a huge, I feel like, mountain or obstacle to overcome with the physical damage that's happening from actually doing it, because you are just going, you know, as hard as you can with another person to try to choke each other or submit with, you know, arm bars or whatnot. So, like, it's interesting to me that you did the physical training for a long time, but the stretching wasn't introduced to you as a way to recover until much later in your life.
Yeah, like they of course everybody tell, hey, you need to stretch, but nobody was never there and they say, let's stretch that way and see how you feel. You know what I mean?
You need someone to hold your hand.
Like,
almost.
For example, yeah, I was joining big clubs, so, and I was not the main guy. I was far. I was young, training, trying to get him better and be in the top of the place, but you can compare with a guy who was training for Olympic Games. But I was brief in the same year, you know what I mean? Fighting, specifically in Brazil, we see a lot of people like successful right now, like big guys, like André Galvão is a guy I can tell because I don't know him personally, but I know his history. He's from São Paulo, but his professor's from Rio, so he was traveling every week to Rio, so like 7 hours inside a bus.
Wow,
to be there 7 a.m. train like a crazy in the beach, go after training the gym and train. I don't know what you need to train after, but like far from home, young, blue belt, train like crazy, and then compete the competitions, the weekends, like every single weekends you can find a competition in Rio.
That's amazing dedication.
Yeah, but he's now have the biggest academy in the world. He's the owner of Atos, and pay back. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I think he never expect that. Even like everybody. Right now, people training or go to jiu-jitsu because they have the same goals. Mm-hmm. But I feel people, my generation, or even from before, just does because they like it. They don't have nothing better to do. And he finds jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever the sport they find for their life. And put these as the patient from this. Like, of course, you need the resource, you need help. Mm-hmm. But if you like, if you want to make this work, we'll move on. And just happen, you know, like, I never expected to speak English my life. Trust me, Brazil is not the place we're looking for English.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't have expectation to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I was 26, don't have even passport.
Wow.
I swear, because I never have this expectation to get out of there. I was December, I did my interview, I run like a crazy to get my passport for February. And they were going to be ready just in March.
Yeah.
Man.
Quick turnover. So besides, like, let's say stretching from yoga, what other recovery methods do you use for yourself?
Be happy. I swear.
Mental, eh?
Mental. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember training in some place I was not happy, even for the coach or even for the people I was around. And I have the experience, and I have like all my friends, all the guys like to be there and give me the attention. And make a huge difference. Like, have people tell you to do, and because they like you, you know, and make you happy. Like, have your weekend. Okay, today you have a time to train. Okay, I have a coach even for physical training. They say, hey, what are you gonna do today? I'm probably gonna go training, but it's not your period for training. Today you have a rest. Like, who told me this before? Never. Like, we this guy introduced for us a different thing. We have a break in the Wednesdays. Don't do nothing. So what do you want to do? Go drink a beer. Hey, I swear.
Yeah.
Get a beer, relax. You're far from competition, of course. You have a long break, but you like a beer, make you happy. Go.
Right.
You like to walk. Go do anything different than put a gi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Change your mind a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So even though, let's say, beer is not necessarily the best for you, but
I'm Brazilian, sorry. We like beer.
Everybody drinks beer. Canadians love beer too. It's even though, let's say, it's not necessarily the best for you from like a nutrition standpoint.
Without alcohol, don't alcohol. Beer without alcohol, healthy.
But because it makes you feel better mentally, it can help with the recovery process. So as it's a net benefit, let's say.
And the mental, like, you can get arrested, but you go home with a lot of headache and you don't rest. You know what I mean? Like, I feel a lot of times I have like 5 weeks in home, but a lot of things over my mind make me stressful. I don't rest in nothing. And I have one day rest, but my mind's peaceful. I just look like, oh man, I reborn.
Yeah, I feel that sometimes too.
I mean? And that's now the thing. Like right now is more popular from like the coaches, like the guys go help you. There's people trust, there's people don't trust. It's more how you handle, it's like really personal. But one thing I remember I did, even for one club was they provide to us was meditation.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
It was a really different thing for me. Specifically, I'm hyper don't move for like 10 minutes. Breathing and if you close your eyes was a huge challenger.
Yeah, it's hard to be still when you're a person who like enjoys martial arts and jiu-jitsu and wants to be just doing things all the time and pushing each other and strangling each other. Practicing stillness is the exact opposite, and it's takes a lot of mental discipline to force yourself to do that, and then to start to feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, like weight is a thing you need to learn. Doesn't matter if you fight or not. You know what I mean? For example, Jiu-Jitsu, when you have a semi-advanced position, you wait a little bit, you can see a lot of things happening. I have a student from Markham. I remember he was first competition ever. He passed the guard beautiful. He got inside the control. I was outside yelling, wait, yeah. And then I just look at him with the eyes like open. Oh my God, this guy's gonna wait. He passed over, the guy sweeping him, submitting. And then he was like, I said semi bad words in Portuguese. And when they got submitted, and he looked at me, what's happening, Professor? You didn't wait. If you wait a little bit, I'm sure he's gonna move. And he will open space for you. So you're gonna be a step over. You know what I mean?
So there's that transfer from the ability to meditate and practice stillness to use that skill on the mat when you're practicing jiu-jitsu, where that you can practice stillness in the middle of all the chaos or look for the opportunities to open for you.
Time to breathe. Pass the guard, side control. Move on.
Yeah, I always notice time to breathe when I'm out of breath instead of ahead of time where I'm just like, I often start off telling myself, don't forget to breathe, take deep breaths in as you're going, and then at some point I forget that reminder, and then maybe 30 seconds or a minute later I find myself going, oh, I forgot to breathe.
I know that. But I think you sharp rest of the time, like you need guidance, you need somebody, know how to train is a huge difference for your development. Like, I can put it, for example, one thing I tell you guys, and sometimes I get a piece, we training, throws. Okay, guys, we train, you can do whatever you want. And then you guys sit down, oh man, we train throws. So your mind is fresh of the technique, try at least once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you want to be your comfort zone. That's normal for everybody, but if I saw that, okay, time, guys, please do that, because that's going to make you happen. I know people do that, I does, but I know people didn't. You know what I mean? It's like how to train is a thing you need to learn as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best coach for sure, I'm far, but I'm really glad to have really good guys around me. And there is one guy making me understand this, was like, we had like 10 rounds of 1 minute, Judo. And then he start to talk, and he know everybody. Even we have a short period of training, Sensei Amadeu, and hey, good, okay. Then he like yelling, you need to do better. And then he's like in the face, everybody like the fire turn on. But you understand what to do. Was like we are a small group, but was a savage group, Jesus. And I know that the way you put your mind down there, sometimes you lost because you are in your comfort zone, you don't want to lose, you don't want to throw, you want to get better your stuff. But it's not just that. There is a place to have mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're able to that. So
take advantage of that opportunity.
But it's not everybody realize and take time to realize.
Yeah.
And this needs guidance. Again, I'm still I'm still process of my development. I love what it does, and I don't want to get out of there because I don't know the different things better. I'm not for the construction.
No.
But
I feel you.
Yeah, I do whatever I need to do. Specifically, I have a kids, but if I can still up on top of the mat and with my knowledge make people happy, and then trust me, Jiu-Jitsu change lives.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I'm happy.
Martial arts in general, because when I started as a kid, I started with wrestling, and I feel like that took me on a whole different trajectory than what I was going on before I started, and had a big impact on my life. And then, I did stop for a while and was focusing on studies and going to school and stuff like that, finding a job and all that regular stuff. And then I feel like I lost a little part of myself and was less happy, let's say. And then when I rediscovered jiu-jitsu and got back to it, I felt like I found a part of me again.
But
I think that's a common story.
That's the point. Like for more the more people training, I feel like I'm gonna poke the Wesley community right now. You was happy when you train Wesley, but you think the technique you have when you train Wesley, you can beat yourself right now with jiu-jitsu?
No.
You're gonna beat yourself from before.
Yeah, and it comes back to what we were just talking about before, about being afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone. When you're in wrestling, your goal is to be on top and to pin somebody. And then with jiu-jitsu, it's completely the opposite in some ways, because you're encouraged to go on your back and use that as a defensive position. And I find myself like a fish out of water when I try to do that, and it's very uncomfortable, and I have to mentally tell myself to go into that position and practice it. Otherwise, I'm never going to get good at it, even though every fiber of my body says, no, don't do that, get out of that.
I really understand it, trust me. Like, I was training jiu-jitsu for a while, even though when I turned a black belt, but I was never high performance competed. I never was compete too much in jiu-jitsu. So I moved a place and everybody was fighting as soon as the first time he got a white belt. That key, that window, when you open early, make a huge difference in the future. For example, I have my good friend Roger. We met in Abu Dhabi. He's moving to Canada too. And we get a competition. He's like, hey, I didn't train to be here. I know, because you do this for your life. For you, just one more day you can train. And even for the rules, you have the mindset to be on the rules. I don't compete so much often. I was until my purple belt, was my last competition. And then I get my black belt and come back to compete jiu-jitsu. And I need to train it. If I don't train, I don't be comfortable. It's like judo, I can go without training. Even I get a beat, but I be there. Okay, I know what to do. I know the rules. Done. But in the beginning down there, when I get at that, and the people like, smash. Yeah. Man, I remember my first time down there training, I get a guy from Alliance. There is a lot of guys from different clubs, Sagat. Man, I tap like 9 times from footlocks. Like probably 5 one leg and 4 for another leg in different ways.
Now you have the best defense for that, I'm sure.
I'm getting better for sure. But it was like, man, what is that? You know, and you look around like, I need to go easy, and then another monster. I don't have a, when you learn by love.
Yeah.
I didn't learn by love jiu-jitsu for a period of time.
Love.
Man, I better get back this stuff, like people beat me. But you learn.
What about, let's talk a little bit about, let's try to relate jiu-jitsu a little bit back to health again, just to kind of get back on topic. If we divide health into like different categories, I think one of the biggest components of health is how well you sleep.
Sure. And
how much recovery you can gain from sleeping. How do you find jiu-jitsu is connected to sleeping? For you, let's say specifically,
doesn't matter the sport. You need to sleep. That's the thing, my opinion. If you recognize all of my past and don't make me go a little bit forward.
Do you find like jiu-jitsu, having practiced jiu-jitsu in a day helps you fall asleep more easily, or it doesn't matter so much?
No, of course matters. Help you if you have a good commitment of yourself. Just understand
nighttime routine or something.
Exactly. For example, soccer is pretty popular in Brazil.
Yep.
There is a thing we say down there for if a professional player, if you're going to Rio play down there, probably don't be a good athlete. You know why?
How come? Nighttime. Okay.
So much fun. So much thing to do.
Everybody
want to party.
I see what you mean.
I was born down there.
Yeah.
Man, every single weekend. I remember like young, I have a competition in the weekend. It was a week party.
Yeah. It's carnival every week.
It is. Like, I love it, of course. I regret never, but I know if I had a commitment by myself, if I understand how different it is, even I had people tell me, hey, go slow, you're doing much. I know gonna make a big difference in the future, but I did I cannot come back and change my life. But for sure, doesn't matter the sport, don't say just martial arts. Like if you do chest, man, you need to rest.
Right. So sleep is upstream of physical activity, and in order to whatever physical activity you're participating in order to make sure that that's promoting health and promoting, let's say, your body's development. Sleep is a non-negotiable. That's in my opinion. You as well. It seems like you agree. And like, do you have any, from your experience, is there any like suggestions you make for people who ask you about sleep in terms of like how much sleep do you need, or how do you improve the quality of sleep, or anything like that? Have you ever thought about that?
I never thought, but I can tell for the same thing I mentioned before about how you handle your day, you know, how you handle your mind. If you're okay with your mind, you can have a peaceful night. If you're okay with your day, if you're okay with your problems, you can handle your life better. I know people is different, but
so what techniques do you use to, like you said, I stay happy? So there's meditation, you said.
When I say stay happy, I don't say I was a sad people. I'm just saying in general.
Of course, like, it takes practice to control some of the negative thoughts that everybody has all the time, right?
For sure, yoga and the meditation helps a lot if you like this stuff. If you don't like, be with your friends, do whatever you want. You you know.
So that social connection with family and friends, that's
if you like that. Yeah. I know people prefer being home and play video games, but make me happy, doesn't matter. Like if you're okay with yourself in general, everything goes well. It's like a snowball, you know.
Yeah. You build up momentum.
It's like the position when you drill. If you start good, you're gonna finish good. If you start bad, can't turn in the middle, but
that's what I tell my clients too when we're doing weightlifting. If your starting position for the lift is good, most likely you will lift the weight no problem and put it back down no problem. But if you start with a bad position, you're probably not gonna get the weight up, or if you do, you're gonna strain yourself in some way afterwards.
For sure. And one thing helps for sure to sleep well is the way we eat. You know, eat. You have a good way to your diet. Like I'm bad in diet. I can't tell, but I train. I just train. I talk to Margaret of that. Mark, I'm just training because I like to eat. If I eat and don't get a fat, I will never train. So I find a good thing.
That's a common misconception, man. You can't out compete or exercise a bad diet. That's my opinion. So looking at you, I don't think you're probably eating that badly.
I don't eat much more, but before I was like, I get 200 pounds.
Oh, okay. Hey. Wait, what's your height? You can say in centimeters.
1 meter, 180.
Okay, 180 centimeters. So that comes to, I want to say almost 6 feet.
I guess.
So 200 pounds with 6 feet is okay.
But I never have been there before. Was weird for me. Like that and come in top of we talk about happiness. That was a period in my life I was really sad and depressed. Was when I was in Middle East, and the first time I lived by myself alone, like no one, and was a good period down there for training, getting better in Jiu Jitsu. And even development myself as a professor, because I was given a class for people who don't want to train.
Oh yeah, that's hard, man.
I've
had so many clients that don't want to train, but they're paying.
But I gotta pay, of course. But imagine like 7 in the morning, 30 guys in the mat. You have a friend help you. No one will be there, even yourself.
Wow.
The guys don't ask you more good morning. They ask you what time they're gonna go out. You know, like. Of course, you have to be motivated because you gotta pay. But man, I change half of my salary to have like 5 guys who want to be there. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not that account.
Yeah, I get it.
But there is times people down there, because they in Abu Dhabi they turned Jiu-Jitsu mandatory in the army and the public school. So if you're military, you want to change your rank, you have to do a bunch of course. I was working in the Air Force for 2 years with pilots. They had maps, so kind of trainings. Jiu-Jitsu one of the training. So if you don't get it, for example, you're a lieutenant, you want to be a captain, you need to be a blue belt. If you don't get a blue belt, you don't turn.
Wow.
Your pilot.
So they're just doing it because they're forced and not because they have the actual desire to go to blue belt, and then
the way they
makes it really
put
difficult.
Inside, like I'm sure half of the population right now is a blue belt down there. They have a mandatory service too. It's a kind of new thing down there, so they take people from before. Like I give a class for 200 people before. We have day we have a change belt. We promote 2,000 blue belt in once.
Oh my God.
I swear.
That's a lot.
What the best quality? No, far, but numbers. That's the one.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate to turn jiu-jitsu into almost like factory farming.
But it is like they like to do things like bigger down there. Like you want to do the biggest.
Yeah, they have the tower there.
Tower in the world, the biggest.
The islands.
The islands.
Yeah.
They did I think the biggest jiu-jitsu class in the planet. I don't know how much people, but it was a lot. It's in the Guinness actually.
Oh really? Okay.
And they provide that.
Yeah.
Like
I like the small classes.
no, it's nice, but like just because one guy, the son of the sheikh down there, the son saw jiu-jitsu as a new thing, and his father said, "Oh, my son's getting better. I'm gonna give it to for my people, for my population."
Oh, amazing.
It's nice.
Good idea.
It's a good idea,
Just
of course.
execution's a little.
Imagine you're 35, like just bad food, you lazy, and then hey, you sergeant.
Yeah.
You wanna be your next rank? Put your gear and go train.
Right. So it's all kind of little pieces of the puzzle. They have to fit together, right? So if your mental state is not great, if how you're eating is not great, then all the physical training, it's not going to undo all the other negative parts of your life. It might help a little bit, but you need everything to be in unison, working together.
Harmony, you get harmony between the things you make you like. For example,
harmony. Yeah.
If you're training to be an athlete, you have your period of training. If you feel like your week don't work well, find somebody to guide you. Specifically right now with technology, I can talk to my professor in Brazil and here at the same time. Like before, I never have that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And if you want to get better, there is a lot of tools. Normally, the problem is people cannot understand what's going on, or it's a lot of pride that they don't realize. Like. I remember I'm struggling with problem in my life, and I need, for example, mental health. And I don't know the help. I don't know help. I can't fix this alone. But hey, somebody come tell me, man, make a huge difference.
Yeah, there's every aspect of life. There's somebody who's a bit of an expert, who has more experience, who's been through probably very similar things and has had like important lessons that you can learn from without having to go through yourself.
Listen is a huge thing down there, and then it's really rare. Like I learned from my student have 6 years. I learned exercise. I was doing my kids class. I say, guys, crawl, and then I saw the other side. One student, Professor, we can do crawl backwards. So what? I never did this. Show me. So hard. Hey, everybody. Crawl backwards. Now I put in my class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
whatever you do forwards, you got to do backwards. Whatever you go to left, you got to go to the right.
You have a bad side because you never trained before.
Exactly. When I make scrambled eggs, I sometimes train scrambling with my left arm.
Both sides.
I can do super fast with my right side, and my left side is just like...
the side. No, I know. It's coordination. It's funny and it's fun how the body can adapt and getting better. Yeah. Like I really like to tell my students when I train like cartwheels, specifically for training, because I feel if you never have, for example, I have to do a judo class, and nobody threw you in your life before, so you never put yourself in the opposite sides.
Yeah,
people are scared of that.
Of course.
So cartwheel. I never did cartwheel. Okay, I studied how to train like past cartwheel, like base, step by step.
Yeah.
And they still like to never do cartwheel before, and then they do the first time, they're so happy.
Yeah, it's like being a kid again.
But it's there. Maybe you never realize it. Nobody could guide you, and like just a hand here, hand there, and jump. I'm gonna feel okay. I'm gonna stand up and do it again.
Yeah, it's a simple thing, but it can make a big difference in someone's training, and then even overall well-being. Mental and physical.
It's fun. Like I remember. It doesn't matter what it does. When you have some people instruct you, like remember your math class. I'm sure everybody has that. The nice professor in the school for the worst thing you need to study. But they're so nice. They turn to be so nice because he's there. Man, you turn to love the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
It all depends on the teacher. I used to have a great math teacher, and I used to love going to math class. And I used to have a horrible history teacher, and I hated that, going to history class to learn about history. Now I never use math in day-to-day life, at least not the high school math. I just use basic 1 + 1 = 2 for, purchasing food and like paying.
No, because for pressing guard.
Yeah. That too, but I love history now because I've like found other teachers who are able to teach it in a way that's exciting to me, and I love learning about that. So it all comes down to the teacher and who's guiding you through the process. So I'll just say that I'm grateful to have you as a teacher because you've been pretty good in making the dots connect for me. And when you start off, you're blind. You're just reaching out. You're trying to find something.
I know.
And you find maybe 2 rocks with your eyes closed. You've been able to help me to figure out how everything connects together, which is nice. And then like we were talking about before, is you've been good at just like even at the ends of classes, adding a little bit of recovery at the end, which is very important, and is something that gets forgotten oftentimes with other instructors. And I appreciate you for for incorporating that as well.
Like I said, I have good guys and bad guys, and from both I learn a lot. Like I cannot tell one person I have to help me, but it's a bunch. I'm like, it's crazy how knowledge and can help you, and when you have a guidance, I say guidance all the time because that's I have all my life. I was studying, like you said, the normal procedure of life, like school, university. I was doing physical education in Brazil. Is a university thing down there? I know for you guys it's not. You do a course for a weekend and you can work and like
for
you need
personal training.
4 years. And
you can do kinesiology here in Canada as well, which is kind of like the university education version of that. But you don't need it to, let's say, get a job or something.
But I hate it, like to sit down and start to look somebody talk. I remember like Mondays we have an atomic class in university, and I was having my scholarship. And I was studying with a friend. He's in Abu Dhabi too as well. Actually, if he's not here, I will never go there. He get it stolen. That's why you get an interview. I'll tell after one, but you get it after training. You train in the same club. 7 a.m, we sit and the guy take a piece of them. This one is here, and then we start to melt. No. But this guy, he got it stolen in Rio, and then he was working to building a mats in the hotel. Was the same mats the company for the interview rent.
Wow.
And he has like the ears like cauliflower.
Yeah, cauliflower ears.
You fight jiu-jitsu? No, I'm a judo player. I'm trained because the club I was part in Brazil is like no profitable. Like they provide judo for poor areas in Rio.
Okay, non-profit organization.
Exactly, but it's a big one. And there's a big guy behind that. It's very popular in Brazil. He's an Olympic athlete, Flavio Canto.
Okay.
And they meet each other and put us to go there to do a judo presentation. Then they invite us to go to the interview.
Oh, wow.
I got there 9 a.m. to do a physical judo presentation. I left at 1 a.m. the day after.
Yeah.
With a job in Abu Dhabi.
Amazing.
Not amazing, man. I will get scared.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But martial arts is amazing.
Yeah.
How connect people, how change people.
That's what I was just going to say. It's unbelievable how martial arts can change the trajectory of someone's life. usually for something better. Like, I don't know if I can make the absolute statement that it's always better. Sometimes maybe not. Maybe a bad person learns martial arts and is able to use it in a negative way on other people. That happens very rarely, I'm sure.
If they bad, they're gonna turn better, because you just make you smart. If you even though you don't want it, you need to be smart. And
yeah.
I'm really glad for that sport. And you have this before, bad people. We still have it right now, but it's not about the sport, it's about each one. And sometimes it's just bad because, again, you cannot have guidance, you have nobody.
Well, the thing about it is, even though it's an individual sport, it's really it's a team sport, because you can't practice it by yourself. you need people to practice.
You can buy a dumb and train, but you don't get better as fast if you have somebody to push you and like beat you down there.
Exactly. You're not going to have the mental motivation to practice on a dummy that you will to practice with another human being.
I think now it's the hugest sailing is dummies. Like, everybody get a dummy. No. Everybody has a dummy at home.
Yeah, that they never use. It's just collecting dust.
I had I said, hey, Professor, I want to do semi-drills in home with my dummy. Man, the gym's open.
Yeah.
Go down there, train, throw this in the gun.
Yeah.
I want to get him better. Go get him better in the gym, please.
Yeah. No, I see him. I agree with that. But I guess what I wanted to finish off with saying is like how Jiu-Jitsu is a tool. Tools can be good or bad. You know, you can have a hammer and you build a house with it, or you can hit somebody in the head and cause some damage. So, and with regards to like health and fitness, we can use Jiu-Jitsu to improve our health and to improve our fitness, but it comes with the right approach, right? We talked about you need to have enough sleep and recovery to make sure that the damage you're doing from practicing Jiu-Jitsu is something that you can manage and you can come back to. We talked about the physical activity. Jiu-Jitsu gives you a lot of physical activity, but maybe there's a lot of repetitive stuff that can cause damage. So some of the stretching can help undo and mitigate the injuries that you could have from practicing Jiu-Jitsu. Then you could practice Jiu-Jitsu by yourself on a dummy, but then you don't have the social connections of like practicing with another human, with your whole team, and improving your community, your network of people in your life. And that's a huge component of it that I'm reaping the benefits of now, like you were here talking to me. And then what other aspects, like even so I just want to cover all the aspects of health that I think of a lot of. So I said sleep, physical activity, the social connections. Then one thing I like to think of is the environment, because I like to think of the human organism and the environment that they're in. And just due to like the changes that we've gone through in the last 100 years or so, or even longer, I would say, the human organism has almost moved itself from the environment that it evolved in. So that environment is so different from what we're involved in that an organism out of its environment gets sick easier, in my opinion.
I know.
So putting it back in this, not that Jiu-Jitsu is like the environment that we, let's say, evolved in, but human history has a lot of physical violence.
Yeah.
So introducing yourself to that physical violence through controlled settings like the Jiu-Jitsu gym, like the mat with other people where you practice safely, I think that also brings back a little bit of that like ancestral way of living that we used to be a part of that we don't get as much of. And I think that contributes to health, at least to mental health in some ways, in many ways. In fact, and I guess the last thing we didn't necessarily touch on is nutrition, and like what we talked a little bit about it. I guess you said your nutrition needs a little bit of help, but if you're not fueling your body with the right nutrients, then like the other things almost fall apart as well. Any like last thoughts about all of that? Like
come to Jiu-Jitsu, training, like doesn't matter where. Can come truck, they'll be better. But Jiu-Jitsu is like you said, is a huge tool. There is more benefits than bad things.
Oh, for sure.
But it's still
not to cover your face.
It's still amazing sport. And changed my life. I'm sure changed the life for another people, and it's still changed for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it like saves a lot of lives in terms of like I said, just changing the trajectory of somebody who was going to go maybe in the wrong direction and maybe cause some damage to themselves and like the people around them in their lives, and then it's totally changes the trajectory to something where they're like achieving for something greater, something bigger for themselves, and turning into a positive person that influences the people around them towards that positive light as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so glad that I discovered this sport. I'm so glad I discovered the community and everything. So appreciate you for being here. Appreciate you sharing your time with me and your wisdom and knowledge. And I'll probably ask you to come back and do this one more time.
For sure, really appreciate it.
Next time you'll be a black belt in English.
No, man, no, that's be so long. No, that's to get on my point step by step. I'm gonna talk better when I get my brown belt. But thank you for you inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, for me, it's a pleasure to talk about Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, because it's my life, turned my life. Even I don't want to tell, but it's turned my life. Like, pay my bills, make me go far, make me visit places, make me speak another language, make me have kids. Like, if it's not Jiu-Jitsu, I don't be here. I don't met my wife. I don't have the wonderful kids I have.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I'm really glad for everything God gave to me, and even for the people around me, because alone you never go anywhere. Yeah,
we all stand on the shoulders of giants. Hey. I think that's true for everybody. You know, all the people that came before us, they laid down the groundwork for us to go on the path that we're on now.
And I hope I can pass all my knowledge before I die for you.
Oh, you're passing it on, no problem. I'm getting better. I'll tell you a little bit about the Sunday class, Sunday roll yesterday, a little bit later. But I feel like I'm, like I said, connecting dots and able to apply the things you're teaching me, which is a first. I feel like I'm finally making some of these things, so some of these progresses that I was told is going to happen.
For me, I know it's my job, but I love to see the development. So if I see somebody do something can make works, I don't say because it's my things, but works for you. Was good, man.
Yes,
pay my salary.
I'm the same way with personal training, right? I'm so happy to see clients make accomplish things, goals that they set for themselves. Like somebody wants to do a pull-up and they get their first pull-up or push-up, or if they want to squat like some weight that's really heavy, like body weight squat with the weight of their body weight on their shoulders, and be able to do that. When I see it happen for the first time, it warms my heart and makes it worth doing what I'm doing. So I share that sentiment with you.
Make you happy, so happiness again.
Yeah, it's a win-win. All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for joining me. Talk again soon.
Os.
See you guys. Valeu. Thanks again for watching or listening till the end of the podcast. If you have any follow-up questions or comments, please reach out and let me clear up any uncertainty. Either leave a comment or send an email to newsletter@jmartfit.com. That's all I have for you today, ladies and gents. Connect with me on social media at jmartfit on Instagram and Twitter, and jmartmoves on Facebook. Or get my free bodyweight training program through subscribepage.com/bodybasics. Jmart out.